It's game time, we ain't playing with you. It's game time, it's game time, we ain't playing with you. That's how we ball for y'all.
Let's go, man. What up, what up, what up? You are rocking with Duvibe. Thanks for joining for episode 93. Round of applause. East Coast still freezing, these temperatures are still worrying people. But I look at it like, man, it's winter. So if it's winter time, it's gonna be those type of weather, but we've been in the singles, being in the singles like 5, 7, what's going on with all that. Is it global warming? I don't know, but we're gonna find out. Because this is the record breaking. They actually said they break record breaking temperatures that have been below. Definitely in New York City, Philadelphia, D.C. So this is something not unusual cold that we haven't had in a while. So it's definitely record breaking. And, certain they said like 1979. So you could definitely the weather is definitely it is what it is. So but talking about the weather, talking about something cold. Man, it's still cold. It's still cold in Minnesota, Minneapolis, whatever you want to call it. It's still cold out there, and I like how all over the cities, states, there's been a lot of protesting about that, So they still not happy with the situation that things go on. Still not they still want things to change. They're still making their voice, they're still protesting. It's not being televised, but it's definitely being seen in different states. So hey, when everybody comes together, that's when things change, and that's what we'll see if there's some adjustment when they want to take go a different route. Take ICE out of certain places, or just work with the police force and kind of just do it a different way, instead of the way that they're carrying it, because it's still looking like it's out of control. It's still out of control. And I did talk about the deaths that currently had happened, but I seen some research, when they talked about, oh, maybe it's not gonna affect the black community or the black and brown community, but unfortunately it did. It's just not televised. They're talking about the guy, Gene Wilson Brutus. He was held by ICE, and that was actually in Newark. Newark. They said at the Lindsay Hall. He died when he was in their custody 24 hours. Died in his custody in 24 hours. So and then they talked about another gentleman, another black guy, Keith Porter. Keith Porter. They say his name. But his was a different scenario where he went outside. It was New Year's Eve, so it was New Year's Eve, and then he went to celebrate when it turned New Year's. Went outside, shot his gun in the air, but an off-duty ICE agent was, I guess, in his neighborhood. Guess he didn't like that, so he went home, put on his uniform, and then he ended up gunning down the young man. So there's other things that are happening behind the scenes. It's just not being televised. It's not being broadcast as much, and it's it's still happening all over different states. So it's still feeling like ICE has way too much power, way too much control, and they're gonna abuse their power and they're gonna abuse their control. And I talked about last episode about Alex. Now they had a footage of him weeks prior. They said 11 days prior, where he was acting a certain way towards the ICE agent, where they said he was spitting on him, kicked the tail light, the brake tail light, where it broke the tail light and they hopped out. So they're trying to point there, or trying to change the narrative and say like he was, you know, he always had it out against ICE. But I mean, I'll show you the footage.
For showing ICU nurse Alex Pretty in a confrontation with federal agents just 11 days before he was fatally shot. Pretty is seen yelling at officers and taunting them. Pretty's family confirmed their son was the man spitting at an ICE vehicle before smashing the taillight in the video.
So yeah, we see him
New
first
footage
thing
has surfaced
spitting
showing
at
icy.
the ICE agent. Well, let's not act like that's a death penalty. Like that's not let's not act like that's uh justifies that. Oh yeah, this you can kill him for that. You can kill him. That's the he was already not liking ICE agents. He already had that attitude towards them, so he deserved to die. No. So why would that footage even be circulate like that's gonna justify anything? Like that shouldn't even okay. So nobody ever did anything. Everybody's perfect, or when you look at that and you think that somebody should actually die because of that, then you should look yourself in the mirror and think what you ever done. Have you ever spit on somebody? Have you ever kicked the car out? You ever broken something? Is this the reason why you should be murdered or allegedly murdered or lose your life? No, that doesn't justify anything. And it's just magically this footage, like nobody's talking about it, magically this footage just popped up and he's wearing the same clothes. All this AI stuff, looking at that video, that could be AI. That could be AI. I need somebody to clarify, prove to me. We need these different tests to see if it can be AI. But in this situation, they're not even trying to see if that footage is real or is not. His family saying, "Oh yeah, there's his family member." Like who? Which one of his family members is coming out and saying that? But it still doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything whatsoever. Because know why? We have a justice system. So you felt that man spitting at the ICE agent, he broke the tail light of the ICE vehicle. Then you know what? He goes, he gets arrested. He goes see a judge. The judge sentences him, and that's the crime. That's how things is done. So none of this can justify any of you bringing up these footages, what he did and what he did. Come on, knock it off, knock it off, knock it off, knock it off. But another thing I seen, California man, Batman came out. Batman, Batman is unhappy with it. Unhappy with the situation. He's telling, hey, you guys got to do something. We got to get something right, especially get it right before the Super Bowl. Like act now. So that went viral, getting everybody's attention. He's not lying. But he's not the way he went about wearing that type of outfit. I don't know. I don't get it, but definitely had people talking.
What are you doing here? I am disgusted by each and every one of you, with the exception of Councilmember Park, that you have not done something more. You need to affirm that no city resources will go to ICE, that no cooperation will be given to them. I don't think I need to go into how many people have been shot, how many people have been taken, how many children have been abducted and used as bait. I don't need to tell you that. You see it on the TV every single day. I don't want you to sit back and watch. I want you to do something. I'm not begging you. I'm demanding that you act with some semblance of a spine. Do something.
Yeah, Batman said do something, man. So that was just funny how he did that, and he came out there, but we'll see. We'll see if anybody paying attention. If this is just even coming across his desk and seeing how things are, and it's like, yeah, we got to change some things. We got to change some things. Oh man, I'm talking about Donald Trump. So talking about Donald Trump, Nicki Minaj, she's going viral now because her support for Donald Trump, all in. She was all in saying she loves him. She loves Donald Trump and she praises him. So they got some type of relationship, but look awkward, but
Uh, well, I don't know what to say, but I will say that um, I am probably the president's number one fan,
number one fan. Cap.
and that's not going to change. And the hate or what people have to say, it does not affect me at all. It actually motivates me to support him more. And it's going to motivate all of us to support him more. We're not going to let them get away with bullying him and, the smear campaigns. It's not going to work, okay? He has a lot of force behind him, and God is protecting him. Amen.
Yo, yo,
Hello.
nigga, you crazy. I mean, to the fact that she support him. There's nothing wrong, you know, choosing who you want to choose in your own whatever. But just the way it came out of nowhere, it just looks weird. It looks fake. It looks cap. Because then they said you kind of did all this just to get your citizen, because Trump had the gold card, and he's like, yeah, I got my citizen now. So you really just endorse him just to try to get your citizen. It's like something behind doing it all. Because if you're gonna support the person, you support the person. You support them from the beginning. You don't support them from the end. Or you go out and let people know you've been supporting him. Or like you said, he's your favorite guy. You're the number one fan. Well, nobody's seen you being a number one fan. I think people who's really his number one fans are insulted. Like, how are you his number one fan? Like they probably mad at Nicki off that. Like, how are you the number one fan and you haven't been around this and that, whatever. So that's why she lost a lot of followers on her social media. But it just looked different. It looked different. Just like I said, you can support it if you want to support. It just looked different the way it came out, and her fans are probably not happy. But we'll see how what goes on after that. Like, is this just the beginning of it, or or you got your gold card and it was like, all right, guy, all right, deuces. But talk about Donald Trump. Yeah, there's been a lot of updates on this Epstein list, man. They finally released the Epstein list. They said what 3 million pages, 2,000 videos, 180 images. Disgusting. And the fact that they was like, yeah, we're not going to show everything. We went through it and took a lot of things out because they don't want to release a lot of things to the public and things. But the victims is upset because they like, damn, you expediting the rich and power names, but you sitting there throwing us under the bus. You got our addresses, you got our information. These are dangerous. They saying they going against powerful people. It's just why would you release all their information and not the other side? So um that's one of the things that they just worried about. But it's ooh, I mean it's ugly. It's so ugly. Donald Trump's always mentioning it. It's like these buddies or whatever. But now they took little shots at Elon. You know, Elon Musk was like, he looked at, I guess the emails, but it's like 2012, whatever. He's like, tell me when the wildest party is coming on, when wildest night's coming on. I need to like relieve some stress. But he's saying he never went to the island. He's saying he never went to the island, but it's that look bad. They're throwing him under the bus now. And then they have the certain pictures and videos that people are going through. Like he had like looked like he had like a dentist office, and then he also looked like he had like a classroom, some like looked like some little girl's schoolroom. And then they had footage of him chasing a girl around the table. I mean, these are little girls. It's just man, and then he said, yeah, send me the torture videos. Like send me the yeah, I like the torture videos. Like what the hell was going on this damn island? That it just, and how long was it going on? And I'll tell you this, for him to have all this files, because how you have 3 million like pages like that, and that's just what they're reporting. You know what I'm saying? So imagine he was just making sure he had receipts on every individual. If he ever gets caught and go down, he's like, "Y'all coming with me." So he had receipts on everybody, everybody. But this is what they had to say.
3 million pages, including more than 2,000 videos and 180,000 images. In total, that means that the department produced approximately 3.5 million pages in compliance with the Act. Just a quick note about the videos and images. The 2,000 videos and 180,000 images are not all videos and images taken by Mr. Epstein or someone around him. They include large quantities of commercial pornography and images that were seized from Epstein's devices, but which he did not take or that someone around him did not take. We're releasing more than 3 million pages today, and not the 6 million pages that we collected.
6 million.
I want to address what we didn't produce. The categories of documents withheld include those permitted under the Act to be withheld. Files that contain personally identifiable information of victims or victims' personal and medical files, and similar files, the disclosure of which would constitute a clearly unwarranted invasion of personal privacy. Any depiction of CSAM or child pornography was obviously excluded. Anything that would jeopardize an active federal investigation. And finally, anything that depicts or contain images of death, physical abuse, or injury, also not produced. To protect victims, we redacted every woman depicted in any image or video, with the exception of Ms. Maxwell. We did not redact images of any. Today, we are producing more than.
But they say, like I said, there's people victims that are coming forward, like, hey, who told you to release my information? Who told you to release my information? So they're gonna have to deal with that back end, and just try to protect the victims, because you're gonna release all information, and there's still powerful people involved and close to Epstein, close to Trump, close to just close to everybody. From it could be down the list. It could be down a list of powerful people that they're going around. And for them to keep just trying to go through all this, it's going to be a while. It's going to be a while. But the fact that they had time to take stuff out and put, like, it's already tempered. It's already tempered. And the fact that the things already tempered is still releasing other evidence and other sick stuff that they did on that island, that's just, Lord. Too much stuff. But everybody paying attention. Everybody's definitely paying attention, seeing what they're gonna release next and who's on there and who's they trying to throw under the bus. Some other names are starting to trickle down. These are all allegedly, so I'm not even gonna say it because these are all allegedly to that type of, because I mean, even if you close to Epstein or was friends with him at one point, there's not a possibility that you knew what he was doing. But if you went to that island, no. But if you went to that island, then you gotta do some answering. If you went to that island, certain things, Bill Clinton, man, he's get thrown under the bus too. But we'll see. We'll see what other names. Kanye West. He's been in headlines a little bit. And this has really been in the headlines because he's realizing, he has mental health issues. So he recently apologized. He put a apology out in the Wall Street Times, Wall Street Journal, for anti-Semitism, and he's just saying that he's bipolar. Saying he's not, with not the Nazi thing and all that extra stuff. So people like on the fence is like, damn, Kanye, how many times you gonna apologize? How many times you gonna do these antics? Is it because now that they're affecting you or they're taking money out your bank account? Is this the reason why now you want to apologize? Or you really have mental health issues? I mean, I think that he does have some type of bipolarness. Yeah, that's part of being an artist sometimes and his creative and the way he blew up with his fame and all that stuff can go to his head. That's kind of how Kanye is. And then he always suffered with different mental issues, but it's the work you got to put in to get help. If he's getting help and he's trying to do the work, then we have to, we can't hold hold Kanye. Well, we can't hold Ye back. You can't hold him back for all the work he want to put in and he wants to do good again. So we have to give him. You got to give him a chance. You got to give him a chance if he's doing the work. If he's doing the work to get better and realizing what he said before was just too much, it's it has to do with his mental health and it affected him and lost a lot of, you don't really care about like probably friends and all or whatever everybody else say. But he's still a brand. He's still a brand itself, and he's still doing concerts in China and Japan, different like he's still all over doing his crazy shows and stuff. It's just that he has to like just be true to him. If it's the attention he wants, there's other way to go about it instead of saying these type of crazy stuff that you don't even believe in. Like you're not down with that stuff. You wearing these type of symbols and doing all that extra stuff. You don't. If that's not what you like. Why are you even doing it? Get back to what you do. Get back to who you are. That's what I would say to Kanye. But we always always praying for him, always hoping to get the help he needs and get back right on track. That's what I say about Kanye. But talking about apology, no, I was playing. But J. Cole, man, J. Cole. Uh, I guess he took shots at the people who be in the podcast now, artists turning podcast or older artists during the podcast. He was taking a bunch of shots in the beginning. Especially he dropped a mixtape, DJ Clue type vibe. That was definitely a era. When Clue dropped his tapes, everybody was waiting, listening, hearing, seeing who's going to be on there, and want to hear them bars and want to hear who's going hard on there. So for him to have a collaboration with Clue, that joint is dope. Um, the beats that he selection that he picked, Victory, right off the bat. And then he took, like I said, I would think he just listen, like he listened to people who talk all the craziness about him and how that felt. And obviously, it bothered him, and he just had to let us know about different things. Um, but I'm glad he did take it where he said, "Hey, I'm gonna let my skills show." Because like I said last time, we don't. I mean, I don't care. I don't care, and I'm sure majority of the fans don't care about no battle and all that. That's cool and all, but come back out with the music. Come back out showing who you are, why we appreciate your music. God damn, you went hard. So you could either be a hater or a dick sucker, right? Something like that, whatever. But hey, man, hey, hey, it's music. It's the music. You don't take offense to that type of thing. Nothing personal for nobody. It's just it's music. So and the music that he's coming with, he's trying to show he's setting a bar and a level of his music, picking those those beats, man. So I like the victory one, and then I definitely like the money power respect beat. That's a tough beat, man. Boy, that's a tough beat. Just growing up in New York, that when they came on to that, Fox came on to that, yo, everybody killed that joint. But favorably, always gonna be DMX. Hearing that as a kid, he just when DMX comes on these tracks, he takes it to the next level. Like it was just always, all right, yeah, make sure he goes last because he's gonna go extra hard. He's gonna go crazy. It's like I can still remember the word from word if you're not hearing it in a while. If it comes on, I'm gonna say word for word because it's just like almost possessed what he just did on that track. It was just unheard of how he just aggressively took that over. But for Cole to say like this is where he's going with it, it's definitely a good anticipation of his album that's dropping, the fall off. So we definitely want to hear that. Like I said, I want to hear that regardless. I don't care what the haters say. Yeah, but and then people like, oh, well, is he gonna address all? I'm glad he addressed some of the issues. Like I was itching towards it. He was like, what beef? Ain't it's no real beef, man. You know what I'm saying? Like that. He's like I said, and I knew it was like they was friends. Beverly was friends with Drake. He was he was friends with Kendrick Lamar. So he's like, what beef? There ain't no real beef, And I guess that's the reason why he didn't want to go into that whole messy little battle, and he just rather to keep his friendship intact. I don't know what him. Well, I think he said. I think what they say he haven't spoke to Drake or something like that. They saying what they still haven't spoke to Drake after he spoke to him. I don't know, but all you know is the music is here. The music is coming. He's back in his bag, and it looked like kind of like just freestyle that. That's new. I feel like he was listening to some couple of podcasters, and then it inspired him to just get ahead and do what he do best. But I like the way he put everything together on some old school mixtape vibe, freestyle, because that's kind of how rollouts used to be back then. When you rolling out your project, you definitely had some, freestyle music to different beats, and then you just went out, get people excited for what your album's coming out. So he's definitely going doing things, ready to roll out his album. So hey, that's definitely dope. It's definitely dope. But it's interesting how he put it out because he didn't really put it out on just regular streaming service. He had his own website and go to pay whatever you want to pay, and then after that you can try to pre-order his album. So it's definitely trying to be independent because he already got his Dreamville, so he's already had his company independent. But it's just another way for him to keep collective with his fans and it's make more money at the end of the day. Consumers, just playing the game, and so playing the game. But definitely dope. Can't wait to hear it fall out because if this is how you coming, I didn't think it was gonna be nothing different. Um, but yeah, like you said, I'm gonna show you my skills. I'm gonna show you. I bowed out at the battle, but I still can do this. So pay attention and listen up. Cool. Let's listen up. Let's hear it. Ready for it. Let's hear it. Yeah, so another artist that came out, man, the baby. The baby man surprised me with this project he's put out. Be more grateful. It's been a while since the baby really put out a whole project. He definitely been throwing signals here and throwing great dance club and ass shaking, get the party rocking music. This one, he actually brought us into his world. It just showed his maturity. It just showed his growth, and I like the whole project. The project is definitely dope. Uh, it's a solid 23 tracks, so that's always hard to put together a long, hard album. But right off the bat, Sticks and Stones was hard. You know, letting us know like, yo, y'all should be grateful. He about to giving y'all this music, man. He's still giving us this good music. And I love when artists just, versatile, because then you got pop that thing. Yo, that's tough, 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 tough. You know what I mean? Booty Tank. If anybody know about the movie Booty Tank, putting that as the belt. That was dope. What else is on there? Paper Low. They'll shake that spot. That's another ass shaking joint. That's another ass music. So he got his club music. And then he had the sample he did with Kanye. Flashing lights. So what is that? Surprised he called it clear that shit. So he's like, yeah, Kanye cleared this, so you gonna hear it. You gonna hear it. But yeah, it's dope how he took that beat and played around with it. Rain Rain. I like that too. I like the Jodeci flip too with the baby. Was that ooh, baby daddy? Yeah, baby daddy. That was took the freaking you sample Jodeci joint. Check that out. That joint is fire too. So he got some things on there. He definitely got some things on there. I have 23. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. I like to hear, hip hop. I like to hear rap. I like to hear you being versatile. I like to hear you, you know. And then I remember seeing the video too, but he was talking to the youth, the letter. Remember the letter to the YNs? I remember that. Um, just telling them. So yeah, different versatile in the music, yo. Like different avenues. He's just going in and embodying, because the baby gonna rap, the baby's gonna give you rap, and he's gonna give you bars. He's gonna keep doing what he's doing. So definitely go check out that joint. That joint is definitely hard. Be more grateful. I think that's gonna be something that people need to watch out for. Keep listening to. Also, getting into some new music. Don Toliver, he dropped his album too. That was definitely dope. Getting some tracks that I like. I like the body. I kind of like that sample of the Rock the Body. With Justin Timberlake. I like that. Secondhand's a vibe. You know what I mean? What else that? Tiramisu is a vibe. Check that out. ATM. ATM is smooth. Long way, Calabasas. That joint is smooth too. Yeah. So he got some good get some music on there too. So definitely check out his project because he's gonna give you melody. He's gonna give you his melodic. He's gonna give you his fun, rock style, rock out type of vibe. Ready for these festivals, jump around. Like he gonna give you those. He's gonna definitely give you that type of music. And you know how the Cactus Plant. That he's still with Travis Scott. That so he's definitely going to have that type of vibe and feel to it. I don't know why they keep putting it in hip hop and rap. I would see really, but it's like we got to put our own genre together and stop just classify as hip hop and rap. But it's still dope. It's still a dope project. So definitely checking that out when it comes to the music. And sticking on music, definitely they got the Grammys. Grammys is going on right now. So well, it's gonna be over, but watched a little bit of it so far. So it's just funny how the Grammys. I didn't think Kendrick was gonna win the rap. Well, I mean Kendrick's always yeah, he's a great artist. I didn't think he was gonna win rap album of the year. I think probably should got to push the T, but he shouted them out. He know what it is. Yeah, because he racked up last year. He racked up last year. I feel like they should, don't be that dead horse. You know what I mean? Like just move on to the next music that you feel like is next to it. Don't have the same people in the same category and all that. Don't switch it up. But I do like the way that they see a lot of new acts. They give them like a lot of new acts chances to perform. I like that seeing all the people basically who's like in the new art nominated for the new artists. They had your song playing. So they definitely performing and so that's cool to see. You know, yeah, they're gonna probably tell he's gonna talk about Justin Bieber. So right, Justin Bieber did his thing. With that collaboration. So yeah, it's still going on. So I can't give all of it's going on with Grammys, but I'm always looking forward, looking at the Grammys, just seeing what kind of music is being celebrated. I mean, they're probably the songs you always hear on the radios and people talk about. That's probably always going to be part of the Grammys, but I always like to see how they put things together and who shows up and who kind of just steals the show. So I'm still gotta be watching the Grammys once I'm finished doing this. I already got it on record, so I'm gonna finish watching it. But yeah, always check out the Grammys, and especially the artists and categories and things like that, and give it up for them. So I can't wait to go back and watch that when I finish this. To be honest with y'all. And I got the Lakers and the Knicks. Lakers and Knicks. I don't know who won, but I'm gonna check that out after too. I got that recording too. So, but I gotta finish this. I gotta get through things. But we gonna gotta finish this. So we're gonna finish this, and I'm gonna go back watching that. But also, I did check out yesterday on Saturday the verses. Mike Will made it versus Hit Boy. Crazy, crazy. And I always was a fan of the verses, and I'm glad that it's still going and putting it on a bigger scale, and they got their monies off that. Cause like I always talk about it, what they did for the pandemic. It definitely kept music going and kept everybody paying attention, had something to do. When artists was not doing too much because they couldn't really do too much, so they got together with Swish and Timbaland, and they put something together really great. So for that to keep going, I like it. And but the battle was crazy. The battle was crazy. You know, to see Mike Will and Hit Boy go back to back with their hits, man, you can't even deny it, man. With Mike Will bringing out Juicy J, bringing out Rich Sherm, and them. So and they go on their hits. It was crazy. It was crazy. And then Hit Boy playing hits back to back. He pulled out the Nipsey joints. And then they was doing Beyonce back to back, and he's only got one more choice. I don't got too many Beyonce, but then Hit Boy went into his Drake bag, and then Mike Will went to his Future bag, and then Mike Will went his Kanye West bag, and then Mike Will made it went to the 2 Chain bag. So like it's just great that producers to go head in head because they put so much work, even with their team, but it shows you how much work they've been putting in. And he went to Rihanna, you know, um, and then Hit Boy went into another bag. Like they went back to back, back to back. So I can't really say who won that battle. Even looking at it, they because they both do different things and do different hits. But then Hit Boy went to his extra bag with the Kanye West, Jay Z, also hard, So that alone was crazy. He's like, I gotta keep playing that back to back. So it's just hats off to them. They're definitely on some legendary making music. Give the flowers to those producers and to keep them doing what they're doing. So that's definitely great. I'm here to talk about the Fab and First Banks. I'll just put my 2 cents into that. Antonio made a great point. Where it just did with the G Unit thing. How Banks, but and I think he is known for like lyrically one of the best in G Unit. But then you got popularity, swag, sayings, tough guidance, energy. Obviously, 50 Cent, is always, and he's still what he's doing. The G Unit's still going. So, but when they had the comparison with Fab, they both got good songs, even for the ladies, and I like that, I like the R&B vibe because I'm always on that R&B vibe. But well, damn, I can't. I mean, I think, like I said, it's not too much. I think Fab got it as an artist wise, just with songs and because Fab always did a bunch of features with everybody, so don't forget about that. You always so he can if they did have a verse between Fab and Banks, it's going to be close, but I think Fab will take it. But if Banks go into the G Unit bag, and if that and is actually supported by 50 and Ye on them, then it could be a different story. But then that's more like a group activity. But it's interesting just to have them talk because I didn't talk too much about Banks' project he just dropped before, but it still don't get it twisted. Like he still got his bars, the bars, and it still was a tough project. Like I still can go back to listen to a couple of tracks that I didn't get to talk about because other things was going on. But Banks is still a dope artist, and he still got tracks. He's still making music to this day and putting out good projects. That was a good project. I think he just dropped recently. Everybody's still waiting for Fab. I'm still waiting for Fabulous to drop some type of project or put something together, or if he wants to do it. I know he took the new podcast thing going on, but he still got music. You can't, he still got hits. If you go into the Neo, if he goes into his Breathe, he goes into Throw It in the Bag. Like even if you go back to the mixtape, it's crazy. With Clue, the things that he did with Clue, those was crazy too. And Banks was an artist. If you go back to G Unit freestyles, those were crazy too. So even with the Funk Flex coming to Funk, man, shout out to both of them. Shout out to both of them artists. Fab and Banks. That would be an interesting verse So it's a lot of talk about it. We'll see if Swiss Beats and Timbo put that together, or whoever in charge of that put that together. See what they do, and I see Apple really heavy with that too, because I got to watch it on the big screen. 'Cause I remember when the pandemic was going on, I was streaming from my phone to the TV. So it's good to see it's on Apple Music. If you want to go watch it, the verses from the Hit Boy and Michael made it. So that's definitely a good, cool collaboration. I did watch the fight. I did watch the fight. Well, I watched the last, but I didn't watch other. Well, well, I didn't watch it, but I seen the viral clip that Jared Miller. You know, everybody talk about him because what he when he was fighting, his toupee came off. But this is what he had to say.
Under her table, and I shampooed it. Yo, the shit was like ammonium bleach. I literally lost my hair like 2 days ago. So I called my man, so give me the man. Let me slap it on real quick. Beats a knock that shit off. But like I said before, man, it's funny, man. I'm a comedian. You gotta make fun. I get to my mama house.
That's good. Like you say, he's a comedian. He can laugh at the joke, and he knows it's funny. Just going, he probably knew he was gonna go viral, and because nobody ever been fighting, and all of a sudden your toupee hit the man hit you so hard the toupee go off. But he won the fight, so you definitely had to go out and win the fight. I'm glad he kept that momentum. He still didn't let it bother him. He just laughed about it and popped the top and took it all threw it in the seats with people shows that somebody had a video with his toupee. But yeah, I mean, I don't believe you. I don't know who believes you in that story because how you just mix up the wrong thing and then bleach and fall out now. I think it happened. Now people know that you had a toupee on. Hey, with this new technology, hey, it's fine. The best thing about it, at least you won the fight, because that'd be the worst where now you humiliated and you lose the fight. But now you laugh about it. Everybody gonna laugh about it. Everybody's gonna talk about it, and you won the fight. So that's definitely that's what it's all about at the end of the day. But that was definitely viral, and people were talking about that, and it was funny. It's funny. I'm glad he's a good sport about it, and he's just laughing about it. But the main event, you know, Shakur and Lopez. I mean, it's when he came out. He came out with G Herbo, so that was the focus already. And then they said Lopez came out with the John Milwaukee dancing and stuff. So they say you better beat him. But just looking at the fight, Shakur was definitely focused with that jab. That jab definitely did it for the night. For him to just keep doing that jab and he opened up that eye, it was over. It was definitely over. That thing was leaking. It was not trying to close. It was leaking. And he kept hitting it again, hitting the jab again. So, but that just great for him to get to get the belt, take the belt from Lopez. And he said that's what it's all about. Putting the belt up and then going to compete. So it's going to be interesting. We'll see who he fights next. But just looking at the highlights, you're gonna see what went down. But yeah, that was definitely a dope fight. Everybody checked out. I like to always check out my Netflix. The Netflix, man. Netflix is always go to. No, it's fine. But yeah, I checked out Netflix of Love and Death. Love and Death, yo. That series, or it was like a series, I would say. No? Yeah, because I was watching a bunch of stuff. So yeah, it was a series. All I gotta say is I don't want to give it all away, but I'm gonna give most of it away. Somewhat. No, I'm playing. All right, so Candy and Pat, man. That's what I say. Candy and Pat. Yo, just spoiler alert. Is this like I can't believe? I mean, can I see why she got away with it? I mean, yeah, spoiler alert. Sorry, but I can see why she kind of got away with it. You know what I mean? I mean, because she didn't want. She didn't. Her intention was not to go over there and kill her. Damn, I'm just giving everything away. I'm sorry if you didn't listen. But her intention was not to go over there and kill Pat. Don't get mad because I usually don't give spoilers. I don't usually don't spoil it, but I'm gonna spoil it. But like I said, the intention was not to go over there and kill Pat. So But the fact that she went by her own business when she did, I don't know if she in shock or they say when she snapped, she did snap. She did snap because how do you ask a person 40 times just chopping them away? Yes, I understand she kept coming at you at the end. She was trying to leave and then she come back, try to hit you again, wrestling again. But 40 times, and then you just walk right out of there. Really, she didn't try to cover it. I'm not saying murder. I'm not condoning murder, but she was not in the right mind to cover it up. Like she walked out of there like nothing happened, and it was just a horror scene. It was a horror scene. She went back to Bible studies. She went to go back to the Bible studies, man. Like what the, you know what I mean? But I say this: it's good to go to church and mingle because you had a lawyer that was fantastic, got you off, and he looked like he took that serious, and that was his time to shine. They said he ran for governor, but then he killed himself. That you know, word around town, we need to look into that. We don't know if because of this guilt of letting somebody off, murder, or just got to him or whatever. I don't know, but that's something to look into. That's crazy. But watching that whole series, that it was nonstop. You just wanted to just keep watching, wanted to keep watching because I can't believe. I kind of gave a lot of things away, but I just can't believe that he let her go. Like that's crazy. That's great. I mean, I would think she would get some time or something, but I mean, I know her tension was not, and I think also because she's not the type of person who's a fighter. I think they was like, oh, that was her first fight like ever, So that's not even she's not even about that life. She's not even rage, and it is it actually snapped because when they did the hypnotism, she had trauma. She had definitely had trauma when she was a kid, and that kind of fed into her snapping. Just snapping it and doing that. But definitely go check it out. I'm giving you previews. I'm getting a spoiler, but just you go check it out and you tell me what you think because it's still it started a little slow, but it's a story. See what was going on. I'm not gonna get all into everything, whatever, but go watch it. Go check it out. Just check it out on Netflix, like I did. All right, so man, oh man, I don't want to hear this. I don't know what the hell's going on. Why are they talking about it might be a new virus? What the hell's going on in India?
Contagious virus between humans, and it's often deadly. The 2 cases of Nipah virus were detected in India in the state of West Bengal, but there are concerns the outbreak could spread. The virus has a fatality rate of 40 to 75%, according to the World Health Organization. So it's deadlier than the COVID virus, and there's no vaccine for Nipah. So authorities in India are taking no chances. At the same time, several airports across Asia, in Thailand, Singapore, Malaysia, Hong Kong, they're taking steps to screen passengers for any symptoms. Nipah is a zoonotic virus that's
Nipah?
transmitted from animals, usually fruit bats. It doesn't spread
Oh, it's
easily
these
to
damn
humans,
bats.
and it can also come from contaminated food. But when it
Stronger
does,
than
it initially
COVID?
hits like the flu, then worsens, and experts say pneumonia and other respiratory symptoms
Oh
can
my
develop.
God.
But the most serious complication is encephalitis, or inflammation of the brain. The WHO says the
Right.
fatality rate has a lot to do with the country's capacity to test, trace, and treat those
Stay out of
infected.
India.
In
I'm trying to
India,
say.
authorities have quarantined nearly 200 people who may have come into contact with the 2 infected. It's the
Oh.
first time in nearly 20 years that India has had cases,
Mm.
but they believe the outbreak is now contained. Still, it's a situation that U.S. health officials are monitoring very closely. The CDC says they're ready to assist if needed. This is a highly
Oh
contagious
man. Highly contagious, Nipia, whatever. Yo, what the hell is going on? They said it's under control, it's uncontained, but it takes one damn person to not can be uncontained. You find one person that slipped off and went to another state and went here, went there. What are we doing? What is these viruses? What is going on? They talking about it's worse than COVID. Man, COVID was not nothing to play with. Man, COVID was not nothing to play with. The longest that went on, history, the death total, sicknesses. Come on, man. Please, please, no. Let's stop playing around in them damn labs, man. Stop playing around in them damn labs with these bats and animals and whatever y'all doing. Y'all cannot contain what the hell y'all creating in them labs. Don't be in the labs. World doesn't need none of that. That's all I gotta say with that. But all right, let's get into some motivation. Motivation. I need a motivation. All right, so this one says, never regret your decisions. Every mistake makes you smarter and stronger. Okay. Never regret your decision. Bullshit. I mean, if it's you already happened, it happened. So, you can't regret it. You gotta move on and you gotta learn from it. And yes, it has to make you smarter because either it was the wrong decision and now you learn from it, or it was something you had to try and now you know what to do next time. So you're definitely learning, and it's gonna make you stronger. Because anything say but everything don't kill you, gonna make you stronger. So definitely, go through the worst, go through the battle, whatever. You're gonna come out stronger, come out wiser, smarter, and stronger. So yeah, I like that. Never regret. Never regret the decision. I get one more. Get one more. All right, one more. This is short and simple. Where there is no vision, there is no hope. So when I seen that, my interpret is always you have to see it to believe it. You got to see it first, and then try to achieve it and try to go for it. But if you don't can't even see it, you can't even feel it, you can't even think about it, can't vision it, then most likely it's not gonna happen for you. You definitely gotta see it, talk it in existence, and then that's where the hope comes. Because now you got something to hope for. But if you don't do anything, you don't see it, you can't believe it, and there's no need to put hope because it's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen if you don't see it. So yeah, that's what I think. That's what I interpret. That I think dreams is powerful. Definitely dream about things in your way that you see things happening before it, or just have a vision or something. Just focus on seeing something that happened, and now you got the hope. Now I'm a hope this can happen. I'm hope that can this and that. But I remember I can't forget his name, but he said, "Hope. Don't talk about no hope. You already lost when you said I hope." Forget his name, but yeah, um, that's funny when you said that. But yeah, just you know, say you're gonna do it. Say you're gonna do it. Be confident in what you're gonna do. Don't say hope. And I know I'm trying to get out the habit, not say hope. I don't want to hope nothing happen. I want it to happen. So, but yeah. So that's what I got for everybody today, yo. So thanks for joining me for episode 93. Thank you for joining me. Like, subscribe. Don't forget to comment. I'll definitely talk it back. So whatever you gotta say, like I said, good or bad, I want to hear it. Let's talk about it. Yeah, and don't forget to join me for the next time. So in the meantime, between time, peace.
I love it. You guys are so great.